What debts can I discharge in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Hey everybody, it's Shamika. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share my video. I am going to answer that question for you. So if you are an individual who is considering filing bankruptcy for various reasons, no judgment here, people. It doesn't really matter. Bankruptcy is your right to use. And if you are a United States citizen, it is also very patriotic for you to use programs that were created for individuals like ourselves, and it is here to assist you in times of need when you have financial hardship. So put your feelings aside, sit back and look at some of the debts that you can discharge, and I'll also talk about the debts that you cannot, all right? So Chapter 7, also known as easy bankruptcy, liquidation bankruptcy, beginner's bankruptcy. It has so many names that I've heard. It is it's about a 45 to 60 day process from filing until the date you go to court to see the trustee, and probably maybe another 30 days onto that. So probably 90 days from the day you file until the day that your case is dismissed. So let me explain really quick what's gonna happen. When you file bankruptcy, and I will get into the debts that you can include and debts that you cannot, but once you file bankruptcy, it is just a series of forms that you will send into the federal courthouse, the one that is most local to you. I will actually put the court locator and some information below so that you can see which courthouse actually is the one that you would use. No, you do not have to have an attorney to file bankruptcy. Especially with the Chapter 7, it's usually not that complicated, but if it is, I would suggest that you take some time, go and find you a lawyer or a legal document preparer to help you fill out the paperwork when it comes to filing a bankruptcy, okay? So usually individuals who are filing the Chapter 7 bankruptcy, they are individuals who do not have any assets. So you're not a person with boats and motorcycles and homes and, you know, a slew of cars and things like that. So these are just usually your average ordinary person who is probably living in an apartment. They have a car they're making car payments on, and they have a ton of debt, all right? So like I said, this is a program that is designed to help individuals get back on their feet. That is why it's also called the Fresh Start Program, because it does give you a chance to start over fresh, okay? So I'm going to tell you about some of the items that can be included in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and I'll also tell you the items that cannot be. So if you are an individual who you have medical bills can be included. Collections can be included. Charge-offs can be included. Any of your credit card debt can be included. If you have loans from the bank or loans that you may have taken out from these third-party loan companies or title loans or any of those things, those things can be included. Student loans, they can be included, but the only way for them to be discharged is you have to demonstrate. And when I say demonstrate, that means on paper, you have to show how paying your student loans would cause you a serious, financial hardship. But they can be included and they can be discharged, but it is up to the trustee to decide if you paying your student loans back is going to cause you a hardship. So I'll give you an example. If you're an individual who may be on, you just recently got Social Security disability and you have student loans. Well, of course, with Social Security disability, you don't really make that much money anyway. So a lot of people may try to throw those debts into a bankruptcy. Now, yes, I do know that if you are a disabled individual, you can submit to you could write the Social Security Administration, to have those student loan debts removed, as long as you can show that you are unable to work for a specified amount of time. But I just wanted to give you guys an example of something that would cause undue financial hardship if you did have to go into repayment. So I hope that was a good enough example for you guys. Okay, other things that you can include. If you owe money to individuals, you can include that in the bankruptcy. Sorry, you guys, you're not gonna get your money back. We're just gonna have to wipe that out. If you are leasing a car and you no longer want that car, and that is probably the only way you can get out of your contract, that is a way to get out of your contract, folks. You can put your car into that car loan into the bankruptcy, and you will let the trustee know. You will do that in writing on your forms that you are giving up the car. You do not want it. I also forgot to mention that you can include leases, or evictions, repos that you may have on your credit report. Almost everything that is reported on your credit report derogatorily or negatively can be included into the bankruptcy chapter 7. I forgot to mention one other thing. I forgot to mention that there is a limit, a minimum amount of debt that you must have in order to file for chapter 7, and that is $10,000. If you're an individual that owes the IRS for past tax debt, there are some debts that can be included and some debts that cannot be included. But the debts that can be included are debts that occur from personal income taxes, which of course is your regular tax filing that you do every year at the beginning of the year in January. If the debt that you owe is 2 years old, meaning it comes from 2 tax seasons ago, you can throw that into your bankruptcy chapter 7. Another thing that you can also put in there, and a lot of people aren't aware of, is if you are having your check garnished for things that you've done that have, may have caused your check to get garnished for owing food stamps. There was an overpayment of food stamps. If there was really an overpayment on anything, if you're a veteran and you get veterans benefits and you got an overpayment and now they are taking money back out of your check to make up for that overpayment, even if you're a reservist in the military, sometimes you get overpayments that way too. So those things you actually can submit when you can actually put those things into your bankruptcy to actually get those garnishments to stop. They absolutely do look at those things. Those, like I said, filing the bankruptcy means a financial hardship. And 9 times out of 10, when it is included in your chapter 7, it's going to be wiped off. Okay. So I am not saying that this is a way to escape or to get out of paying for your bills. We hate to make it sound that way. But that is kind of exactly what it is that is going on. You're having a financial hardship and you're asking the courts to forgive you of this debt so that you can write this debt off and start over fresh. So first of all, don't feel bad about it. Lots of people do it. It's it's a very common filing because, hey, some of us are not taught financial literacy. Some of us are not taught how to handle credit and things of that nature. So, how can you be expected to manage something that you've never been taught about? So bankruptcy is a viable option for a lot of people, and it actually should probably be one of your first options that you seek versus going to bankruptcy as your last option. Why? Because it's a 90-day process. It gives you a nice way to wipe those debts out and start over. But I'm also going to tell you what makes the bankruptcy process even better. It's even better when you have someone that can actually remove the bankruptcy from your credit report before the 7 or 10 years that it will be reporting on your credit report. And the reason why I say 7 or 10 years is because chapter 7s are supposed to report on an individual's credit report for 10 years, and chapter 13 bankruptcy is supposed to report on an individual's credit for 7 years. Now, the credit bureaus can choose to remove it after the 7 years on the credit report if they want to. Sometimes they don't, and I'll tell you why simply, because you mean money to them. So when you file bankruptcy, you get on a nice little bankruptcy list, and that list is sold to companies that want to market products to you. And so if credit bureau has to fight with removing your name from this list or taking that bankruptcy off your credit report, they're definitely going to do everything in their power to stall. Okay. Yes, removing your bankruptcy from your credit report is completely legal. There is no, there's nothing gray about it. It's a process that can be done. There are only certain individuals that actually know how to do it. So I would definitely check to see if you have somebody that does know how to do it before you file bankruptcy, because it needs to be a part of your planning so that you know, hey, you are getting a fresh start and you're not going to have to worry about carrying that bankruptcy on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. You can get started over quicker, if that makes any sense. All right, so what cannot go on to the Chapter 7 filing bankruptcy? Well, if you're an individual who has traffic citations they're withholding your license, court fines or fees, those things cannot be included. Child support, those things cannot be included. Anything having to do with civil or family law, whether it's a divorce or some type of alimony or something, back pay that you may have to pay since you didn't pay that, whatever, those things cannot be included. Remember, income tax. If you owe income tax and it is current, not from 2 years ago, but current, then you cannot include that. If it's a lawsuit, you can include lawsuits, people, but I'm going to tell you the difference. You can include lawsuits if it's you got in a car accident and because you didn't have the proper insurance, the insurance company is suing you, and because you didn't go to court or whatever it is, they have a lawsuit against you behind something like that, and it's suspending your driver's license. Those can go into the bankruptcy Chapter 7. Now, if it is a lawsuit due to injury, some type of personal injury, whether it was a DUI, someone died, something like that, that cannot be included. That's a totally different thing. Criminal things are not included in the bankruptcy. So again, I hope I help somebody out, but I just want to say again, there are almost everything you could think of can be included in the bankruptcy Chapter 7. They can also be put in Chapter 13 too, but I'm only talking about Chapter 7 because, I feel the level of my audience is at that level where they are trying to achieve homes and cars and things of that nature. So Chapter 13 isn't a bankruptcy chapter we even have to talk about, but there's no sense of staying in debt. If you are suffering and going through a financial hardship, please put aside what you may have been told and thought about bankruptcy. It is your right as a United States citizen to take advantage of any and every program that was made available to us. And that is a program that is made available to us. So if you have any questions, please reach out. I'd be sure to try to answer them or get you to the right person that you need. But once again, thank you for watching, and go file that bankruptcy if it's needed, folks. All right, you have a good one. Bye.